Let's talk a little bit about unusual designs for Jedi lightsabers or Sith lightsabers. Now, in some ways, we can think of there being certain guidelines for kind of overall Jedi lightsabers and Sith lightsabers, but on the other hand, there's a lot of exceptions to the rule. So, for example, if you didn't know if these lightsabers belong to a dark side character or a light side character, I think a lot of people would say, oh, this is clearly the dark side hilt because it's very aggressive and it has those claws on the top and those spines. And then this one seems maybe a little less, a little more unassuming, that type of thing, right? And so maybe it's a Jedi lightsaber, but if you know your lightsabers, you'll know that this hilt design is inspired by the Palpatine or the Darth Sidious lightsaber, and then the hilt on the left is inspired by the Revan lightsaber, although Revan, when he was light side, right? So this is actually light side character or Jedi lightsaber, and this is actually a Sith lightsaber. So that's kind of, maybe beyond what people would expect if they just kind of saw these lightsabers somewhere. Now, one of the interesting things about lightsabers is there's such a wide variety of them. So, you can have kind of non-standard lightsabers in that they're like double-bladed, or they're a lightsaber pike, or, those folding lightsabers, like the dark side Rey lightsaber, for example. There's just, there's all that kind of variety in lightsaber variations in that sense, but there's also extensive variety in the designs of the overall hilt, as you can see here. So a lot of hilts, I think both Jedi and Sith, a lot of them tend to have some type of symmetry to their design. So like this one, for example, this Revan style hilt, you can see it's very balanced and somewhat symmetrical, although it does have 3 claws on the top rather than 4, right? But overall, it looks like you could just, like on this side, for example, you could just divide it right down the line and it's very balanced and symmetrical. And if you look at each sort of face of the hilt, so this one sort of has 3, I suppose, the same symmetry applies. Now, when you get to this Sidious style lightsaber hilt, it doesn't quite have the same symmetry to it, so that's something that actually makes this a bit unusual. So you can see it's very narrow here, and it kind of flares out. There's these little kind of like notches, and then toward the neck of this hilt, it's very narrow there, and then it widens out. So I suppose, you could say you have symmetry like right down there, but anyway, you get these kind of curvy sections that are a little bit different from a lot of other lightsabers that you'll see. But it is kind of interesting how a lightsaber can kind of defy your expectations, but it also can be very reflective of the character too. So it looks like it's always fun, for whoever creates a new lightsaber, whether they're creating it for a comic book page or cover art, or for, a new Star Wars movie. It's just very interesting to see what goes into it. When you go way back to when the first lightsabers were created, it was basically, the job of a prop person to kind of cobble together a lightsaber, and it's just, make it look kind of futuristic and whatever, right? And so that's how we got the Graflix kind of flash original lightsabers, where it looked kind of unusual enough that you could make a lightsaber out of it, basically, or that it would realistically look like some kind of sci-fi weapon. But anyway, what do you guys think is unusual in a lightsaber design? And what type of lightsaber do you think is unusual for, say, a Jedi to use or a Sith to use? One thing we're seeing in all these new High Republic era lightsabers is the Jedi are just using such a wide variety of lightsabers. You know, they've got crossguard sabers, folding lightsabers, and just all these kind of different kinds of lightsabers, or there's like a light whip kind of thing. So they've got all these kind of unusual lightsabers, but at the same time, you know, the overall design of the hilt is often somewhat standard. But anyway, I would love to hear from you, your thoughts on unusual lightsabers, and particularly when a lightsaber, you know, it seems different, you know, for a Jedi to use a certain kind of lightsaber or a Sith to use a certain kind of lightsaber, kind of like the ones that I have here, the Palpatine one or Palpatine style. These are both custom, and also the Revan style when he was a Jedi. So please comment below.